A key driver of economic and property doom. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian here and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your stein of coffee, and before we start discussing what I would consider as a key driver of a lot of the property and economic doom, at least here in Australia, I want to wish you all a happy Easter and encourage you to have a safe journey home if you've gone to stay with family or, done a bit of a long trip. Now, as a father with 6 kids in the car, I know what it's like doing long trips with them. Let's just say complaining a lot, and how you might be encouraged to just push through if you're tired and get home a bit too quick. Get it over and done with. Slow down, take your time, have a rest stop, don't rush, because you don't want to have an accident. That's, we're seeing in the news the tragic stories of families dying on the roads on Easter. That's something we can all do our best to try and avoid. They still have the driver reviver thing, don't they? That's still a thing. I mean, even just go stop, take them to Macca's and chuck them at the playground. Forget about the sugar and the pain. Just take your time. Anyway, now let's discuss what I would call one of the drivers of a lot of the property doom we have here in Australia. And this is, I'd call housing stress or mortgage stress. Now, it's typically described as 30% of gross income on housing costs. This is housing stress. The ABS puts the little requirement that it's low income households only. Now, there's a big difference between household incomes, but a lot of the media, they'll leave off that low income bit. Then you'll have other groups and other people like Martin North that will look at just entire money coming in and entire money going out, which I'd say it's a little bit more of an accurate indicator of stress. So I put the question to all of you, if you think this 30%, or what your opinion about it is. Is it outdated, or is it really a sign of mortgage stress? Because honestly, I think it's just playing up the fear, and it's used to push negative headlines, because negative headlines gets the views, they get the attention. Property is the state religion here in Australia. You're either heavily invested into it as a means of reducing your tax or growing your retirement portfolio. You own a house and you're a property genius that has seen it double in value doing absolutely nothing just through your complete genius. Or you're struggling to get into the market and are frustrated with how unfair and bullshit it is here in Australia for housing affordability. Or you're a political party falling over and wondering why no one wants to vote Conservative when they have nothing to conserve anymore. Why all these young generations are being attracted to more radical ideas. So let's have a shot of coffee and look at this survey result. So I've just put it up, I created the survey, I put it up earlier today, only 4 hours ago, and I intend to do a follow-up video where we compare the LinkedIn results to Twitter and to encourage you to have your say on this. But what's your opinion of the 30% rule as a share of your income to mortgage payments? And it's gross income, not after tax, guys. And 61% of you have said it's outdated, and that's 450. We'll refresh, 449. I'm sure it'll be 450. There you go, 464 voted. 62% are saying it's outdated, and 38% have argued that it is mortgage stress. And let's have a look at some of the comments here. Don't know only one income. Okay, Prancer, I don't quite get what you're saying there, mate. It's to do on household. So, Herbert is going, why is it a rule? I don't follow rules like this. I make my own. Finance, okay, should be 25% of your net income over a 15-year mortgage. Okay, now that's going to be hard to achieve in Australia these days with the cost of housing, honestly. I mean, if you're looking at a household and a 15-year mortgage, maybe. But the problem is people don't want to move away from where they grew up. I really need to look at the stats, but I get the feelings Aussies don't like to move as much as other cultures. We love sitting in our 3 cities, Sydney, Melbourne, and Brisbane. And occasionally, someone from Adelaide might appear in one of these 3 cities. So Nick is going, this is biased. Why even do a quiz if you're already deciding the results? How? Because the definition of it is mortgage stress. I'm arguing it's an outdated approach. Sorry, I don't understand the options. Okay. The options are that it's outdated, the 30% rule doesn't apply anymore. I'd argue times are different. Or it's mortgage stress. That's what it's being considered, mortgage or housing stress. I didn't think it was that complicated. Is it that complicated, guys? It's theft no more than 25%. It depends on the individual. I know there'll be people out there who are throwing more than that at their mortgage intentionally just to knock it over. Everything you spend on your mortgage or rent doesn't get spent on something else. This is from Ken. The more you go above that number, the more the rest of the economy suffers and the more vulnerable you are to disaster. Wouldn't somebody please think about the baristas? I mean, coffee, going and buying coffee is getting bloody expensive these days. I still have no idea how to balance the freedom to destroy yourself and your own family versus the inevitable consequence of competition pressuring almost everyone to do it out of necessity. I mean, he's got a good point there. I'll give you a heart for that one. I don't think there's an easy answer to it. I'm honestly of the opinion now that housing affordability is never going to be solved in Australia. I mean, you've got the Greens bitching and moaning about it, and then their housing spokesperson, a viewer shared it on Twitter that I've also shared. He's there not in my backyard protests. So he's bitching and moaning about housing affordability, then he's stopping higher density development, which would allow cheaper housing. So there you go. Or if it's not cheaper, what it is it's the downsizers. It's the mum and dad who've gotten rid of the kids. They don't need the big house, so they buy a townhouse in the city. It's less maintenance. It's they get a bit of money out of their property, and another house goes on the market. That's another part of the densification. Is you move through houses as you go. I mean, hopefully, touch wood, when we're finally done with this place and years past, my kids have started their own lives. I'm not going to need a 9-bedroom house in South Brisbane, am I? So there you go. Knowing my luck, we'll have the kids living with us forever. So yeah. Anyway, theoretically, it's balanced. But with average house prices 9 times higher and climbing than the average income, 30% rule is impossible to follow in Australia. John is going, it's bullshit, way too high, but like all numbers, e.g. inflation, 3% is just the number pulled from the air. Jay is going, 30% is outdated boomer nonsense. In Melbourne, I got a basic 2-bed unit I bought by myself, and it's over 50% of my wage. I would love it to be 30%, but the bank didn't want to lend against a cardboard box. I've saved a 30% deposit too, so it's not like I rushed into it. Competing against Chinese and Indian buyers suck. Well, there's certainly foreign investment driving a lot of the development in the apartment sector. I remember there was projects that were completely depending on offshore investment to get it off the ground. But then the question is, we need more construction. We need more supply. So if you want to encourage investment, allow investors to buy new build. But we'll see how it goes. The problem is it's not an easy solution. It's never going to be. Mine's 25%, but I only want to work 4 days a week, so legs is doing okay. 30% should be required for just a basic human rights, safe, secure shelter. Why is a house a human right? I mean, if you want to make something a right, that means you need to enforce it. Now, this is different than having the right for free speech. This is a large construction that's complicated, requires a significant amount of labor and technology to produce. So you're going to reduce the ability of people to buy that by vacuuming taxes out of them to give that right to other people. That's the thing. Rights are not free. So, and what's the reply here? Shelter isn't a basic human right. You're ignorant. I mean, that's... I'm hearing this more and more. More and more people are making this argument that it's a human right. What do you think, guys? Maybe I'll put that as a question. I think the demo of the channel and the viewership would argue against that it's a basic human right, but then we've got a lot of males, a lot of business owners, a lot of tradies that are probably a little bit more independently minded than others. Just putting it out there. So I dare say if you stuck to 30% rule, then the average Aussie would have to live well outside the city, buy much smaller places and so forth. Yeah, you're probably right, D. I'd agree with that one. And that's not necessarily a bad idea, but the problem is it even worthwhile if you're a developer, all the hoops you need to jump through? Are you going to stick a small 2-bed, 1-bath little brick veneer box on a block of land that you've got to market, or are you going to build more 4 bedrooms, media room, sell it for more to make more money? It really, there almost isn't a market in the little starter stuff anymore. But 30% is also subjective. 30% may be very different to the next. It could be 60% and still have far more extra funds. I could be at 60%, yeah. I mean, this is the thing. The 30%, I think, is lower income. That's really what we have to remember. And the media will play it up. It's like the interest rate cliff here, where so many people are coming off 1.99% and their repayments are going to increase 50%. We've seen it on the channel here. We look at it all the time. It's scary. It makes the headlines. It sounds, oh no, what's going to happen? But I haven't been able to find out how many of the people who are locked in are, shall we say, established mortgages that are going to be able to handle the increase, as opposed to those that only managed to buy during the mania period because of those low rates that they locked in. I can't find the data anywhere. Maybe I'm not looking hard enough. Let me know if any of you can help me find that. If we just go on statistics, you're talking maybe 40%. Well, no, 40% were locked in, and a big chunk of those were refinanced. Remember, the refinancing was huge. And how many of those were people that were locking in a bullshit cheap rate? So, Hannes is saying, I said it's outdated, although 30% of gross is a bit high. Circumstances differ, so without kids or all the kids, e.g. 2 times 60 grey salaries would leave 8K net a month, and 3K on mortgage repayments would be considered stressed, which is far off. Yeah. Only if you're not in politics or working for the RBA from Construction Honey. There you go. It's a very good rule. Unfortunately, inflated prices in the everything bubble currently make the rule unachievable. It's the end of the cycle. Oz housing peaked at 450% to GDP. It's a long way down to fair value. All bubbles always end the same. Back to the historic trend line. Study history in Australia is no different. Big crash incoming. I don't think so, RC. It's not. History does, it feels like history repeats itself, but it doesn't necessarily. And what's saying that rather than a big crash, we get inflation and then housing moves sideways for a period? You've got to realize there's a lot of mechanisms supporting a housing market. It's not a free market. There's going to be government intervention. There's restricted supply. We've got builders going bust. There's going to be more people moving towards established houses. And we're a colony on the edge of the world. Okay, people are still vacuuming up our natural resources, coming here for holidays and coming over here to study. And those are all going to increase the demand for our housing. So, new 30% mortgage rule. If you learn how to save 30% of your income, your money management skills will probably allow you to know how much you can borrow when the time comes. Too many variables to treat as a hard rule. 30% mortgage, 30% tax, and 30% child support sounds about right. Luke's got a bit of a sad post there. And depending if we're talking net or gross, and we're talking gross here. So guys, let's update now to see if there's been any changes from 464. There you go, 477, 61, and 39%. So, any new comments? No new comments. So, there we go, guys. Let's have a bit of a talk about this one. I honestly think it's something that we need to be aware of, that the media, whenever they're reporting, so many Aussies in trouble, 1 in 20 going to be hit by this, economic doom, housing in trouble, mortgage cliff here or there, we need to look at the basis of the arguments that they're making. And this is one of them, the housing stress, the mortgage stress. So many hundreds of thousands of people will be in mortgage stress based on this Finder survey of 1,000 people. I don't know. Maybe I'm just getting too cynical about all of this news here in the news cycle. You tell me. But honestly, you're going to be paying more than 30% if you want to hit it. And a lot of people will want to hit it hard and get debt free. You tell me, guys. Anyway, thanks for watching. Like, share, subscribe to the channel. Check out HeiseBim and Heise Does. And if you're a fan and enjoy the content we create here, you can support us on YouTube or Patreon. use our referral links via Pocket Squares, or call us if you need an architect. Take care. Have a great day. I'll see you all in the next episode of HeiseSays. Bye for now.